Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How you doing tonight?
I'm on like day 14 of my hockey season cold. The good news is it's not COVID, but the bad news is it's day 14. But this happens every hockey season. So, such is life. Yeah. Here we go. So the Oilers lost, Bruce, 4-3 to the Seattle Kraken. And it was a weird game. And we're going to get into that. So because they lost, we'll do two good things each, but we'll do two bad things. We'll do two good things, two bad things each, and two numbers. All right. What's your good thing?
Okay. My good thing, I'm going to single out Markus Niemelainen, the young defenseman, who did not look particularly out of place tonight, I didn't think, and who was laying a physical pounding on Seattle guys, and he was one of the few Oilers that was engaged in this game from start to finish. And that gets marks for me tonight. It kind of stood out, in fact, on this team tonight. And Niemelainen laid on 7 hits. He blocked 3 shots. And I just thought he comported himself pretty well. 13 minutes, 39 seconds ice time. And he even saw almost 2 minutes on the penalty kill, which penalty kill was unit got the job done over the course of the game. And I didn't think he did much egregious defensively. I haven't had a chance to add up the scoring chances tonight. What do you got on Niemelainen?
We got nothing, Bruce. He kept a clean sheet on grade A shots. So pretty damn good. And you know what I'd say about him, Bruce, is this. He's got a chance to stick with the Oilers because he's offering something that they don't have. Like, I mean, when was the last time we saw a defenseman? I mean, Nurse, fair enough. Darnell Nurse will throw some hard hits. Niemelainen, he's like a polar bear. He's so big. He dwarfs the other players. Like, they're like, brown bears, and he's a polar bear. And man, does he hit. He hits to hurt. He's like an Andy Sutton kind of player or a Hockenpah in Dallas. And I'm impressed. This is something the Oilers are missing on the blue line. And as a 7th D man, he could make a lot of sense. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I'm liking his play. All right. Sorry about that. My good thing.
What else are you liking tonight? What's your good thing?
I like the vision of the future, Bruce, that I think that we got in the third period. Yeah. When the Oilers needed a goal, Coach Dave Tippett put Philip Broberry and Evan Bouchard together on a defense pairing. And for the first time, really, we saw Philip Broberry wind it up and start to attack. And he made some nice plays. And as did Evan Bouchard, who was in on the third period goal. You know, he put that puck on net after a very fine pass from Leon Draisaitl right on his stick, which enabled then Bouchard to put it right on net. And McDavid made the best play of all, the brilliant tip. But Bruce, with McDavid and Draisaitl and Puljujarvi, with those two D-man, that was something to see. And I think that's a vision of the future. No later than next year, maybe sometime this year. You know, we're used to seeing Nurse, Barry in that power line. But I think when it comes to offensive ability, Broberry and Bouchard will outpace those two players sooner than later. And we'll be seeing this really unbelievable high-flying attack. I mean, can you imagine Draisaitl, McDavid, Broberry, and Bouchard at 4-on-4? I was thrilled by it. I just thought it was fantastic to watch, and it really brought back memories of the old days. So that's always a bonus.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate thing was when the Oilers really needed a goal, they actually really needed 2 goals, and they only got 1. And they got and they got 1, deservedly on flow of play. But it was and it was those guys that made it happen.
So close at the end, of course. Like they were just on there was about 5 passes at the end when the Oilers had that power play. They were just like an inch off, right? If they'd just gone the bounce slightly different, the Oilers would have scored at the end of the game, but not to be.
Or if they didn't baby their passes a couple times or whiff their passes one time at critical
Yeah,
moment, you know, like you
yeah,
needed a play, couldn't quite connect on one.
yeah. Okay, there was plenty of bad in that game. Let's move to the bad things. What's your bad thing?
Well, I'm going to start with what I alluded to already, which is the Oilers' inability to show up on time. I thought, right off the bat, they weren't ready because Seattle was pounding them with, a goal in the first minute, 3 or 4 great chances in the first 5 minutes. And Edmonton gets a power play. They stabilize at 1-1. They fall back asleep, give up a goal. And what's disturbing to me is when they have a bad first period lately, it seems like they have an even worse second period. And it's only in the third period that they get their crap together and start bringing it on. Well, if you're playing in the third period and you're 2 or 3 goals behind all the time, I don't like your odds. I don't care how skilled you are. Show the hell up for 60 minutes. Seattle did. And Seattle got the win. And I would make the case that Seattle was the better team over the full course of the 60 minutes tonight. And when, you got Calgary out there on the West Coast winning last night by 1 goal, winning tonight by a goal, and, winning games. You got to take these games seriously. And I didn't get the sense that Edmonton really was committed to this game for far, far too long. And that, as a fan, it pisses me off. I got to say it.
Yeah, that was I think after the second period, I just wrote you a little note like the Oilers are just getting outworked here. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what was going on. They were getting outworked all game long. And this
third period, they raised their work rate.
Yeah.
Then they won the third period, but they lost each of the first 2 periods, and they wound up losing the game as a result. They only won 1 period of the 3.
Okay, we've praised Stuart Skinner a lot this year, but Bruce, he's my bad thing. One of my bad things this game. The first goal was an outside shot, but it was just a wicked one-timer cross ice dart pass, which was whipped into the net. So, I make that as a grade A shot. It would be nice if he saves it. Grade A shot, but he didn't stop it. That happens.
Right through him, but yes.
That it did go through him. That happens, but NHL goalies stopped 3 out of 4 grade A shots. He didn't get that one. But the next goal was kind of there was a cross ice pass. Cassian fails to get on the shooter, but the shot comes from an angle. It's an angle shot, and the goalie it's a tough shot, but the goalie should have that one. And Skinner didn't make that save. So that was on him. And then on the fourth goal, the puck's whipping around there. It goes cross seam, and there's a shot that Russell can't stop. But it's a stoppable shot, again, from an angle, and Skinner should have it. But it kind of hits his pad awkwardly and goes in the net. So 2 bad goals against for Stuart Skinner this game. That puts him in the bad thing category tonight.
On grade B shots, yeah. And that first goal, I didn't really like it either. Neither did he. Clearly he was mad at himself. He didn't bring his stick down on the ice when he came across, and went right through him along the ice. And I'll give him credit for bouncing back in the third period. He made some strong saves in the third period, but by then the deficit was too big. And one of the reasons it was too big was that he hadn't made the saves earlier in the game. It was the poorest game that we've seen from him so far this year.
Yeah, he didn't seem as comfortable in his net,
mm-hmm.
I thought, tonight, as he had looked in other games. What is your second bad thing, Bruce?
Yeah, well, I'm going to dump on the same guys I was praising last game, the veteran defense pairing of Chris Russell and Tyson Barrie, who were the weakest pair for the Oilers in this game, and it wasn't even particularly close. They each wound up with a gaping -3 on the night, and they were, they were caught out on at least a couple of the goals. I mean, the first goal was a bad turnover deep in Seattle territory that led to a wide open 3-on-2 with no forwards even in the frame, and the 2 defenders, there was only so much they were able to do there. But on the was it the 3-2 where Cassian coughed the puck up just outside the blue line, but both Barry and Russell just got caught flat-footed, and the guy, like, I couldn't believe he got a breakaway out of that play. Like, it looked like, yeah, they're coming in on the counterattack. All of a sudden, he's right up the middle and through both of them and gone. And honestly, I didn't think Skinner looked too good on that one either. Very stationary in the net, but I mean, Buddy made a good move and he got it upstairs. But anyway, it was almost kind of a gift goal. It was just like they fell asleep, starting with Cassian. But the defense didn't respond too well, and then Russell was beaten on the 4-2. The shot kind of went through him, which they don't usually. But tonight, I just thought he was off his game. He made a few of those smart defensive plays that you always see from him, but he had a few errors mixed in there, and not a lot of not anywhere near enough of puck going forward. And they spent way too much time defending and not doing a particularly good job of it. And Barry, he didn't have a lot going on. I didn't think offensively or defensively. And honestly, David, in that game, reacting to that game as it was being played, I'm a little bit surprised that Dave Tippett had Tyson Barrie out in the last minute, not Evan Bouchard, after Bouchard had a goal and assist and was a very dangerous player throughout. And Tyson Barrie was, out there getting in Draisaitl's way. That was the only time I really noticed him in that last sequence. And anyway,
Bruce, I completely agree.
They were both poor.
Ride the hot hand, coach.
Yeah.
Like, I know you want to go with your veteran, but come
on.
on.
This power play unit +1, but the power play unit had not gotten the job done. They scored early in the game. They had a power play late in the second period that was absolutely god-awful, horrendous. That couldn't do anything right except give up chances. And then they got this 6-on-4 at the end of the game. I think they got one shot. They had some possession, but they just weren't able to pull off the crisp plays. And I could say tonight I would have rather seen Evan Bouchard out there because he was dangerous throughout. And Tyson Barrie, he just didn't really have it going on to my eye in this game.
Who's getting the puck through on net? It's Evan Bouchard. You got to have him out. Like, I just think I was actually surprised that it wasn't Bouchard. He's 2-point games in a row. He's getting the puck through on net. This is what you need. You want to win the game.
Yeah.
Put him out there, coach. My second bad thing was Cassian, Bruce, who played his way off the third line to the fourth line by the end of the night. -2. He only played 848. He just had a horrendous game. He a well-earned -2.
Yeah, I mean, he was a major culprit on both.
Probably the primary culprit on both. I mean, the one, he makes a neutral zone turnover and kind of a casual backhand pass that he's trying to hit the center breaking out, and it's knocked out of the air. And come on, breakaway. They split Russell and Barrie, and it's in the net. That was a really tough goal against. I think it was 2-2 then. Was that the?
Yeah, that was the goal that put Edmonton behind for.
Yeah, that was kind of the back breaker. You fight your way back. It's 2-2, and then the first goal or the second goal it was. The puck goes cross seam, and it goes to the shooter, and Cassian just takes this weird looping. He doesn't get between him and the net
ever.
He kind of goes up. It's just terrible. It's terrible fundamental play.
Yeah.
You go back towards the net, middle of the ice, take away the guy's angle, and instead the guy got an angle shot that he didn't need to get because Cassian's mistake on that play. So
being Adam Larson, former Oiler Adam Larson, who had a pretty sweet night for himself tonight with a goal and a 1-goal win over his old team. But that goal, I mean, you can say Skinner.
Was that Larson? I didn't even know that. Was that Larson?
That was Adam Larson. You could say Skinner should have had it, but that shot never should have been allowed to be taken. Cassian, I'm with you. Like, you could see Larson's route to the net, and Cassian, like he said, well, I can't go into the circle. I have to go around the top of it and try and get him that way. And Larson just took what was given him and cashed it in. So
Yeah,
I'm with you. This was an absolutely terrible performance by Zach Cassian.
it's a
And
two, right?
there was another play in the first period. Yeah, he'll be getting a 2 tonight. And there was a play in the first period where he had the puck along the right wing boards in the defensive zone. He coughed it up, and then he moved off of the board so that the guy that he coughed it up to could just squeeze by him and go down the boards and make a play on net. And where not only did he cough the puck up on the boards, but he made no attempt to get it back. And uh, like there was no logic to even how he tried what he did next. It was anyway. He was no shots on net for Cassian, one hit, one giveaway, which would have been, of course, the one right before the 3-2 goal. And in 8 minutes and 48 seconds, that's just nowhere near good enough. Fourth line, he wound up on the fourth line. I won't be disappointed if he's on the fifth line for the next game, to be honest. Sit one out and think about it for a bit, because that just wasn't anywhere close to good enough.
This is the problem with him on a checking line. He's not a good checking. He's one of the weakest defensive forwards on the Oilers consistently year after year. How can you have him on the checking line? So he's a fourth line player who can, catch lightning in a bottle now and then on a top line and, act as the kind of enforcer policeman. And I'm okay with that. But really, Chucky, he's a bad fit. Seavier's a much better bet.
Yeah,
on your checking
just
line.
going to say, Seaver had a strong game and he was good on the penalty kill, and he just doesn't make those kind of mistakes. And Cassian made several of them in this game and really did nothing to make up for any of them.
Yeah.
And there was he was involved in one play where he made the first pass and Fogel made a good centering pass and McLeod slammed a good shot on net. That was about the only decent chance that that line had. According to Natural Stat Trick, Cassian was on for 1 high danger, 4 and 5 against. And what do we got for 3 shots
Seager?
for, 8 against? I mean, they just didn't get it done. Whatever line he was on didn't get it done. And
got to hand it to Colton Seaver. Hey, Bruce, like played his way onto the team.
Yeah, he's a regular now.
Played his way onto the third line tonight. Like he's impressing. So whichever scout recommended Colton Seaver, props to you, man. Good work, because he's coming through for the Oilers. All right.
He's going to get a goal one of these times. He comes close. Yeah. Like he makes chances. It's not a finisher, I mean, he's a plumber, let's face it, but
yeah.
But he's a plumber that doesn't give away much, and he does, make stuff happen. And every once in a while, surely he's going to shovel the odd one in. It's coming.
What is your number?
Oh, what is your number, David? Give me a second.
Okay. My number is, it's actually 2 numbers. It's actually 4 numbers, maybe 6. But it's a comparison between Bouchard and Barrie at even strength scoring.
Okay.
Well, overall scoring, Evan Bouchard has 15 points. Tyson Barrie has 13. And this despite the fact that Barrie's got like 4 times as much power play time as Evan Bouchard.
Oh, that's unreal.
At even strength, Evan Bouchard per 60 is 1.86 points per 60, which is the 11th highest total for a regular defenseman in the NHL. Tyson Barrie's doing okay, 1.17. He's 54th. So that's not bad.
Right.
But
this is at 5-on-5, right?
This is at even strength, yeah.
Or is this even strength? Okay, so it will include that beauty 4-on-4 goal he scored the other night then.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I give the numbers, I give even strength because I like to I don't like to exclude plays, which can easily get forgotten, in statistical overview. And I see the states of 4-on-4, 3-on-3, and 5-on-5 is all even strength. So,
but even strength also includes goalie out, so that's why I usually go with 5-on-5.
Well, not on. I don't think it does, Bruce, on natural stat trick.
Okay,
these are natural stat trick numbers for even strength. So, again, Bouchard 1.86 per 60.
That's very good.
Yeah, and Barrie 1.17, which is also good. Like that's not bad. Barrie's a very good puck mover.
Forward.
What's that?
1.86 is good for a forward.
It is, Bruce. So what we have here is Young offensive player who's living up to his billing and putting up the points. He's had his major struggles on defense. Bouchard, he's been better actually in the last 4 or 5 games. So I don't know what I'm not really advocating for anything here except put him out in the last minute of the game when you need a goal. I guess I'm advocating for that when he's got a hot hand at least, and maybe some more power play time. Now, of course, every point he gets, we put on our GM hats for a second. Every point he gets now costs you a lot of money. So you have Tyson Barrie to run your power play. It's none too shabby with Tyson Barrie running it. So I'm not arguing right now to put Bouchard over Barrie on the power play, but I would have liked to see him in the last minute there. What's your number?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 16, which is the total number of hits Edmonton had in this game, of which we've already mentioned 7 were by Markus Niemelainen, who almost out-hit his entire teammates combined. And it was kind of a feisty game. I mean, Seattle only had 19 too, to be fair. They weren't counted up in hits, but I just didn't think Edmonton was engaged enough in this game. And that's just one stat that maybe it shines a little bit of light on it. Some people don't like stats at all as a hit, or hits at all as a stat, but to me they're an indicator. Not even necessarily good or bad, but tonight I would say bad that Seattle kind of clogged it up and made things a little bit miserable out there. And I would like to have seen Edmonton. Would have liked to have seen guys like Zach Kassian, 1 hit, Warren Fogle, 1 hit and 1 bad penalty. Brendan Perlini, 1 hit. You know, what are those guys there for? You know, like when the other team is laying down the gauntlet, you got to answer the challenge. And honestly, Brendan Perlini, what is he there for? Another game with no shots, -1. And
yeah, I'd be playing Benson.
I'm still waiting for him to do something in a regular season game.
I think Benson's a better player. I'm not sure either of them are going to stick, but Benson's a better player now. And of course, Seavier's by far better than Turris. So we'll see what happens when Devon Shore comes back.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, anyway,
maybe will be in the stands.
The two of them, Benson and Perlini, they both, between them, one of them has played in every game at 4 left wing. And there was one game where they both played, and they both have 0 goals and 0 points after 22 games. They've got like nothing from that position at all in terms of offensive production. So I guess that's my number. 0 points for left wing after 22 games into the season. Not immense amounts of opportunity, but make something happen. It's got to make something happen at some point.
All right, Bruce, let's leave it there. You got lots of work ahead of you. You're right in the game grade, so.
Yeah, I think I might be a little terse tonight, but I've said that before, and I wind up at 2,000 words anyway, so we'll see where it goes. But
4 a.m. and 4,000 words later.
This is not a fun game to write up, so.
All righty.
We'll one good bounce at the end, we might have been having a different story, but any game you're losing to an expansion team and you're giving up 2 points in the race to first place to Calgary is a night that I'm going to be in a bad mood. And that may have shone through in this podcast a little bit.
Thanks for talking tonight, Bruce.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.